I'm here to lodge a formal protest against this game called Hotshots. Here I was, all excited to finally get a game all about burning down huge forests with a cleansing fire. A notion very appealing to me, I assure you. I broke out the game to play with my minions, and was very excited to find all of these small fire tokens, which bear a remarkable resemblance to my own fiery hairdo. I was anticipating an hour of fun and destruction. Instead, I discover that the goal of the game is to put out the fires. Can you imagine? I couldn't win this game unless I eliminated all of the pretty fires spread out across the board. It's an outrage, I tell you. I'm sure my brother, the Snow Miser, is involved in this conspiracy, and I will not rest until he and his vicious game of putting out fires is wiped from the face of the earth. Who am I? I'll let my minions tell you.
He's Mr. Green Christmas. He's Mr. Snow. He's Mr. Heat Blister. He's Mr. Ten Below.
Friends call me Heat Miser. Whatever I touch starts to melt in my clutch. I'm too much.
Ba-dum boom boom. Wham. Ba-dum boom boom. Wham.
Okay, that's enough. Scram. Alright, let me show you this game, and you'll see what I mean.
Hotshots is a cooperative, press-your-luck firefighting game designed by Justin DeWitt. And I'm not going to go over all the rules here. There's plenty of videos out there already for that. Let me just show you the components and tell you a little bit how it works. Crews of 1 to 4 players take on the roles of wildlife firefighters. The crew boss, I keep saying crew boss, spotter, swamper, and sawyer, and they each have these special abilities. There's standees and character cards for each of them. And also, the cards have the order of play and what you can do with your dice roll results listed on everybody's card as well. Speaking of dice, there are 6 special dice with different firefighting symbols on them, like the Pulaski, which is a special type of axe, or the chainsaw, or the shovel, and the rake thing that I can never remember what it's called, but it's got a special rake thing name. And each turn you roll these dice and try to match the symbols on a currently burning tile that you're on. There's 19 different terrain tiles in the game, and they're really solid, and a lot of them have special information on them. This one doesn't, but at the bottom you can see the symbols that you have to roll to match with your roll. And you can keep rolling the dice as many times as you want, but if you fail to get a match for one of the dice that you roll, then you fail and you add a new flame onto the tile that you were just trying to put the flames out on. So, for example, let's say I already had 3 that matched, but I was going for 4 because I wanted to remove 1 flame. See, 4 equals 1 flame. So I roll the dice again. And if I get a match, great. I can keep rolling and go for 5. But if I don't, then I fail, and the new flame gets added to the already existing fire. The flames are represented by these wonderful fire tokens, which really adds a thematic feel to the game. If the number of fire tokens on a tile ever goes over the scorch limit on the tile, then that tile is lost and you flip it over to the scorch side. Here's where it tells you the scorch limit, and it ranges from 1 to 5 currently. And here is the scorch side. If you ever have 8 tiles scorched, the players lose and the game is over. The tile set up at the beginning of the game is random. You just pull all the tiles out and deal them out. And however they come up, they come up. So that gives you different challenges every time you play. There's always several tiles with fires already burning on them, so you have to come out fighting right from the start. Additionally, at the end of each player's turn, that player must draw a fire card, which can intensify already burning tiles, start new tiles on fire, or change the wind direction and start spreading the fires in a completely new direction. To help the players, you can earn reward tokens for especially good die rolls. Reward tokens, there's a whole pile. Or fire break tokens that can help stop the fires from spreading. And there's these 3 vehicles that have a one-shot use to help you get those fires under control. Each turn, a player moves up to 2 tiles, rolls the dice to fight the fire, and draws a fire card to see where it spreads. The players win if they manage to put out all the fires across the board. But if 8 or more tiles get scorched, or the firefighter's base camp is lost to the flames, then the players lose. And that's a quick look at Hotshots.
Hotshots is for 1 to 4 players ages 10 and up, and it's a wonderful game. Luck and randomness is everywhere, from the rolling of the dice to the drawing of the fire cards to the layout of the tiles. This game can either be very tough or as easy as pie. However, you do have the ability to mitigate some of that luck and apply some strategy to your game. Where do you place the fire breaks? Who and where does the crew boss move another player to make them more effective? When should you use the special abilities of the helicopter or the airplane or the truck? Which tiles should you put out first? Should you allow a tile or 2 to scorch in order to save the others? Should you move together for support or split up to cover more territory? Meanwhile, there are dangers afoot. Every tile that scorches adds a flame token to one of the tiles surrounding it, the one with the lowest scorch value. It is possible that one failed roll could cause a chain reaction that costs you the whole game. The propane tank explodes when it scorches, causing flame on every tile around it. If you lose the air attack base, all of your vehicles are lost. When you lose the fire cache tile, all of the reward tokens are gone. Other tiles getting scorched will cause players to lose their special abilities. And every turn, new fires are added to the board from the fire card's effects. It all works very well together and leads to some pretty exciting gameplay. If the randomness is too much for you, though, then maybe Hotshots isn't for you. For me, though, it's been a great time. The game can turn on you in a second, leaving you scrambling to get everything back under control. The spotter can look ahead at the next 2 fire cards. Which one should you do first? Another thing I like is that you don't have to stick with the standard hexagonal setup for the board. Arrange it however you like. The rules suggest several different options, or you can make up your own. We played one game with the Yosemite Park setup, and it was pretty tough. The more spread out your tiles are, the tougher your game's going to be. It was only after playing multiple games and discovering this strategy of allowing some tiles to scorch in order to stop the flames from spreading to other tiles that I discovered that this is a real strategy, sometimes employed by wildfire firefighters. I thought it was pretty cool that a game would lead me to using actual firefighting strategies. And I've seen people already asking when there'll be an expansion for Hotshots. And the game hasn't even been out that long. It is possible to get the bad luck of having a setup that makes it almost impossible for you to win the game. It's random, so it does happen on occasion, and I've had it happen to me. I didn't realize it, of course, until we were completely smoked after just a couple of turns, but fair warning. Also, when playing with 1 or 2 players and one of them is a spotter, you basically get to look ahead at every fire card that comes out, and I think that gives the players a bit of an unfair advantage over the wonderful fire. Maybe this is made up for by the lower possibility of support from the other players, but I personally try to avoid the spotter in the 1 or 2 player games. Other than that, the game scales easily since each player draws a fire card at the end of their turn, so less players, less fire cards. It's pretty much self-leveling. Overall, the game is fairly inexpensive, fits in a small box, and is a ton of fun. I give Hotshots a big recommendation. Thank you for joining me in this review of Hotshots from Fireside Games. Let me know if you found this review helpful by leaving a comment or sending me an email at elliot_miller@voiceofe.com. That's Elliot with 2 L's and 2 T's with an underscore and then a Miller and a voiceofe.com. Make sure to subscribe to the Voice of E channel on YouTube, as I'll have a lot more thematic game reviews, and you shouldn't want to miss any of them. I mean, really, come on. Heat miser! Hey, Miser! Please tell your friends to check out The Voice of E, and hopefully they will subscribe too. Thanks again, and until next time, keep your mind free.
Get me that signature. We need more power.
I'm Mr. Green Christmas. I'm Mr. Sun.